It was quite clear in the moonlight, but not clear enough for identification, and it seemed to be crouching and trying to raise her window screen. She herself was too frightened even to scream. She slid out of her bed and caught up her dressing gown and slippers. Then she unlocked her door quietly and escaped into the upper hall. She tried her sister's and father's doors, but they were both locked, and then she thought she heard the screen being raised, and she simply ran down and out of the house, much as she had run the day of her mother's death. Only this time she had used the kitchen door. That was her story, and although by the time he got it more than a half hour passed, George got his automatic and went at once to the Lancaster house. He examined it carefully from the outside, finding no one, and had finally rung the doorbell. After some time Margaret admitted him, opening the door on the chain first, and only taking off the chain when she had turned on the porch light and identified him. She had been fairly stunned by his story. "Emily," she said. "Do you mean she is at your house now?" "She is. Aunt Lydia is putting her to bed." "But I don't understand. Why didn't she rouse us? Father sleeps heavily, but I am easy to waken." Of all the ridiculous things to do. She was puzzled and indignant, but George was not interested in how she felt. "I'd better take a look at that screen," he said. "She may have dreamed it, but again she may not. I imagine," he added dryly, "that it would be a pretty real dream to send her out of doors in her dressing gown and slippers at this hour of the night." They went up the stairs quietly, so as not to arouse the household, and into Emily's room. The coverings on the bed had been thrown back, and on a chair neatly folded were her undergarments. Everything was neat and in order, her tidy bureau was undisturbed, her bookcase, her desk. Only the hook where her bird cage usually hung beside a window was empty, and it was at this screen that Emily had seen the figure. From the inside the screen had apparently not been disturbed, and Margaret was willing to let it go at that. George, however, was wide awake by that time and pretty thoroughly interested. He raised the screen and got out onto the porch roof, and there lighted a match or two to examine it. "And if someone hadn't tried to lift it from the outside, I'll eat it," he said. He'd put a chisel or something of the sort underneath to raise it, enough to get a fingerhold, I suppose. Then, he heard her either in the room or running out of the house, for he lowered it again and got away. slid down a porch pillar and beat it. It was no dream of Miss Emily's, Lou. Somebody was there, and that with one policeman at the gate and another patrolling the crescent. It doesn't make sense. But why? I asked. Who would want to get at poor old Emily Lancaster? Who wants to wipe out the family, George? For that's what it looks like. He sat on the step of the car, making idle circles with his mashie on the cement floor, and I noticed that his face had darkened. I had no idea once that maybe I knew, he said, but this kills it. What sort of idea? Oh, nothing much. If it had been our house, I'd say that the thing one's afraid of is the thing that happens, whatever that may be. Meaning mother. He spoke lightly. But this washes that out, of course. He got up. I just thought I'd tell you. Otherwise we're to keep quiet about it, and I've advised Emily to have some bars up on the windows tomorrow. Now, if we had an alibi for old Jim for last night, we'd be all right. As it is. George, you don't think it was Jim? No, but who cares what I think? There was somebody there, that's sure. You can see the marks he made climbing one of the porch pillars. He broke a part of the lattice too. Well, I've got to go. I've promised Margaret to bury Emily's bird. The bird? I said. It's not dead? Pretty thoroughly dead.